The DCEU is finally over, and Aquaman 2 The Lost Kingdom caps it off with a movie that requires very few words to describe. One person that is absolutely celebrating is James Gunn, who can finally say goodbye to the absolute abysmal slate of DCE movies released in 2023. The Flash, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Blue Beetle, and now Aquaman The Lost Kingdom, which is pound for pound as bad as any of them. This will be a spoiler-free review, by the way. Aquaman 2 The Lost Kingdom completely sacrifices story for spectacle. It's like reading a comic strip, except that it's not a comic strip. From its inception, Aquaman 2 was destined to fail with all of the Amber Heard drama surrounding it. And yes, there was still plenty of Mira in this movie. But really, there was no way you could edit her out unless you scrapped the whole thing and started from scratch. I couldn't imagine how many meetings they had on ways to shoot, reshoot, edit, re-edit this movie to remove her, but every way would have been equivalent to shooting a new movie. This may be surprising, but Amber Heard isn't the worst thing about this movie. Rarely has there been a movie that fails its audience with a story that is so bad that it literally feels almost non-existent. This is a collection of scenes knitted together by flimsy children's story kind of character motivations that allows for nothing to flow or for the story to be anything more than a regurgitated dinner from the Golden Corral. This is a mess of a movie, with scenes shoved together with long bouts of exposition to try and merge them together so that they fit. The main antagonist was Manta, and there's a beauty character in itself. There is also Kordax, who was worked into the story through, again, overly long exposition dumps, but Manta was the main central antagonist who was slowly being taken over by the spirit of Kordax through the Black Trident. It was shocking that director James Wan's best idea to gin up Manta's motivation was through a flashback from the beginning of the first Aquaman. It was pathetic. What was more puzzling is how did he recruit all of his henchmen and henchwomen? A common hate of Aquaman? What were their motivations? They all wanted to kill Aquaman as well? Or they just hired guns? Manta literally just shows up a few months later in a hammerhead shark submarine with a full contingent of followers. I mean, seriously, it felt more like,
Ow! Ow! Well, congratulations, numbnuts!
Almost every story beat in this movie had to be set up by one or more characters, giving us a long bout of exposition as to what happens next or to explain who someone is and why they're doing what they're doing. The audience had to be given a speech about what and why was going to happen next. When Aquaman busts his brother out of prison, he asks Orm, "Where do we find him?" Orm answers, "I have a contact." That leads them to a scene that is a 100% Star Wars ripoff of Jabba the Hutt and the bar scene. I'm one of those people that has a really hard time buying the talking underwater garbage, but now we have a band and they're singing and they're all drinking underwater. One of the many things I really dislike about the entire Aquaman movie concept. There are an endless number of ridiculous plot points throughout the movie, from the Orichalcum to the end scene where hundreds of whales are summoned where they use their sonar attack power. Wait, whales have sonar attack power now? Well, they do in Aquaman 2. One of my biggest movie pet peeves, especially a high budget one, is when the sets literally look like sets. I actually watched Dune 2021 a few days before seeing this garbage movie, and to have an amazing experience of watching cinematography at the highest level to watching Aquaman The Lost Kingdom was a real lesson in movie making. In Aquaman 2, every scene literally looks like a movie set. In no way are you ever convinced that they're in a place that actually exists, which is what costumes, set design, lighting, and cinematography are supposed to do. Convince you that where the characters are, it's a real place. The dialogue is as bad as it gets in a movie, with meaningless banter that goes back and forth between characters, adding nothing to the story but an attempt to be funny or show the burgeoning camaraderie between brothers. To put it plainly, the dialogue was all cheese. Some people say that it's as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder. I can't believe that I'm actually saying this, but Thor: Love and Thunder is a better movie than Aquaman The Lost Kingdom. There were a few themes that James Wan tried to force into the script as he tried to make a movie that was premised on global warming. But like everything else in this thing, it felt like it was forced into the story to placate the desire of the director so he can make a statement and collect all those pat on the backs in Hollywood. The movie awkwardly tries to give a shout out to single parents, which is great. Being a single parent is tough in today's world. But when you force it into a scene and bring it up with on-the-nose dialogue, it looks like a big pimple on the movie because it has no need to be there. If you want to add something like this, do it through the story instead of just shoving in a few lines of dialogue into a scene with a baby in it. This brings us to the acting, which was so bad that it literally made everything in this movie so much worse. It's one thing to have a movie set that looks like a movie set with bland and boring dialogue and cheesy costumes, but when you add in B and C level acting, your movie is literally going off the deep end. No pun intended. Dolph Lundgren was an absolute embarrassment as the king. Now, there is no way for me to fully describe this. You have to see for yourself to truly appreciate how bad it really is. If he isn't nominated for a Razzie Award, then it will be a crime because he's earned that Razzie Award for the worst supporting actor, so give it to him. Jason Momoa basically stars as himself in this film. Perhaps the only performance that is worse than this one was Dwayne Johnson in Black Adam. And sorry to say, for all of those Nicole Kidman fans, she is the kiss of death for any movie she's in. If she's in it, then there's a 95% chance it will flop. Just check it out. If I was David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, I would be mortified at what my studio was putting out. This has been a terrible year for the DC Universe. Believe it or not, of the 4 superhero movies that they released, The Flash is going to be the box office winner. Thor: Love and Thunder managed to get a $780 million box office. The Flash, Blue Beetle, Shazam 2, and Aquaman 2 will have a hard time getting to $700 million combined. James Gunn is finally sleeping well with all the movie garbage finally being released that was waiting on the Warner DCEU doorstep for him. What a total and complete show. Aquaman The Lost Kingdom is everything that is wrong with the movie business today. It's spectacle over story. The only good thing about this movie is that there's no woke or politically correct themes that attach themselves to the belly of this bloated Frankenstein whale of a movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom, a score of 3.5. If you like what you heard, I thank you for watching and invite you to subscribe and join the Pop Rages community. And if you didn't like what you heard, shucks, sorry about that. But I thank you for watching all the same, and we'll see you in the next video.